It's Thursday. That means it's time to look at the high school football weekend. Chuck Freeby and Bob Nagel, final week of the regular season in Michigan, first week of the tournament in Indiana. You couldn't be more stoked if you tried. Berrien Springs goes to Cassopolis. Elliot Uzelak and the Shamrocks trying to wrap up an undefeated regular season.
This is a great story about Coach Uzelak, and you mentioned they're being talked about in the Detroit Free Press, and that's because this guy is an unbelievable coach. He was coach at Navy, and now he's done 3 or 4 different jobs here in Michigan, and now he's got Berrien Springs playing terrific football. You
take a look at this Shamrock team, and you'll see a lot of offense from them, and deservedly so. Their offense has been very good this year. I think one thing that gets overlooked, Bob, is their defense, which has been solid all season.
Yeah, giving up 10 points a game, which is really impressive, especially when you're scoring almost 40 points a game. So this has been a nice mix. Tyler Ewald runs that offense. Jamal Haley's a terrific athlete. And Coach Uzelak loves guys that run north and south, and that's what they do.
They go to Cassopolis, take on a team that's 5-3 on the year. Rangers likely playoff bound in Division 8.
Yeah, they've got a week off heading into this game, which they really needed. They're a little banged up going into last week, so they got a week off and get ready, and they're going to need to be against, obviously, Berrien Springs, a very good football team. But this is a team that still appears to be playoff bound at Cassopolis, and the Rangers fans, everybody's pretty excited.
Also up in Michigan, pair of 5-3 teams square off at Dickinson Stadium as Battle Creek Lakeview comes calling on St. Joseph. Lakeview really with a surprise party on Lakeshore last week, and this is a team that runs the ball very well.
Yeah, you don't see many teams score that many points, 44 points against Lakeshore. That was a big battle, and they did it basically by running the football, and they converted on 6 of 11 third down situations. So that's coming up big at the right time for them, and they've got some outstanding players, including Ronnie Reed.
Ronnie Reed and Jacob Kaharchik, the quarterback, both ran for 116 yards last week in the win over Lakeshore. Defensively, the Spartans have struggled a little bit with consistency. That may be an issue against this St. Joe team, which not only runs the ball very well, but also defensively last week against top-ranked Chelsea really gave the Bulldogs all kinds of fits.
Yeah, how about finishing your season with that kind of competition? You know, they ended the year against Lakeshore and Chelsea, and now here they are getting ready, hopefully, to make the playoffs and get a big win in this game over Battle Creek.
Matt Lanier had 129 yards rushing last week. Trey McGinnis and Joran Brown have been staples of the backfield. Winner of this one really enhances their playoff position up in Michigan. Remember, the top 32 teams in terms of playoff points in each division make the playoffs in Michigan. Now, it's, of course, everybody in Indiana, and we get you started in Class 2A. Boy, what a contrast we have with LaVille going to Rochester. LaVille all about defense, and Will Holstrasser's team hasn't allowed more than 14 points in a game all year.
No, giving up under 10 points a game. And, you know, the only loss they've had out of their last 6 games was a 10-9 overtime loss to a good team from North Judson. So Will's getting it done again at LaVille. He's got some outstanding players. And when you think about what Plummer's done at quarterback, it still is pretty impressive. And Noah Richard is doing a good job with running the ball. Smith has been a good player on defense. This is a team that is into the system. And Will Holstrasser has built these kids over the last 4 or 5 years and has them ready.
You mentioned Lucas Plummer threw for 104 yards last week in the win over Culver. They'll need some offense to keep pace with Rochester because Rochester's scoring 34 points a game. And when you talk about the Zebras, you have to talk about their outstanding running back, Alex Deming, averaging over 200 yards a game.
Yeah, and I tell you what, this is a group that's got a different stripe to them this year than they had in the past. The Zebras are playing very good football, and they've been struggling of late. But give credit to their head coach, Ron Schaefer. He's in his first year, and he's got them playing good football. And he's got some talent as well. Aaron Swango is doing a good job running the ball and also playing some pretty good defense.
Yeah, he leads the team in interceptions. His brother Eli leads the team in tackles. So real good contrast in styles down there. Now, the winner of that game plays the winner of Bremen at Manchester. The Lions, 6-3. They won their last 4 of the regular season. Jordan Leeper striking a nice balance on offense this year.
Well, he's got a quality quarterback, a guy you can count on. Ethan Nunemaker's done a nice job for him. And he's passed for 844 yards on the season, which is pretty solid when you get a running back like Lance Moser, who's probably going to hit 1,000 yards this week. And he's been outstanding all season long. He's 5'11", 175 pounds, and he's only a sophomore. So there's some good things ahead for Bremen.
Manchester is 4-4 on the year, and the Squires, they can sling it a little bit with Brock Casper.
Well, Brock Casper is one of the reasons that they had a lot of success. And the Squires at 4-4 overall. Alex Brandaway's done a nice job as their head coach, playing at Burke Field. It could be an advantage for them. And Braxton Ream has done a good job with that defense as well. And Jackson Austin, a real weapon on special teams.
Defense gives up about 23 points a game, though, so I think the Squires are hoping this thing can be a shootout Friday night. Now, let's go on up into 3A. West Noble visits Jimtown. Chargers are 4-5. They've got the best kicker in the state in Julio Macias, but they need touchdowns more than field goals against this Jimtown team.
Yeah, they need a good game from the Pruitt brothers. They're quality running backs. And Seth Pruitt last week, 31 carries, 150 yards. Braxton Pruitt also doing a good job. Drew Yates, a quarterback, can light it up a little bit. And as you say, when you think about Julio Macias, if it comes down to the wire, it's a pretty good weapon.
Now, we saw Jimtown early in the season. That offense was struggling. They only scored 6 points in their first 2 games of the year. They're now averaging 37 points a game for the season, and this 3-pronged rushing attack with Landon Buchanan, Trent Daniels, and John Reed literally ran them to the NIC Small School Division title.
Right, and they've done a great job, especially, they've won 7 straight games heading in, and with Buchanan, Daniels, John Reed, doing a great job. Sam Garner's done a good job on defense as well. And, the Sagarin rating in this game has Jimtown at 61 and West Noble at 38. So you think the Jims would be the favorite to win. But the thing is, you got to show up. This is tournament time. One loss, you go home.
The winner faces either John Glenn or Lakeland in the next round. In 4A, an Elkhart County rivalry renews as Northridge takes on Northwood. We had this game during the regular season on TV 46. Northridge admittedly has not been the same since they lost Micah Hostetler at quarterback.
Yeah, Chad Epley's had some real challenges in his first year as head coach, but I love the way his team shows up. They play with a lot of passion, and that's going to be a trademark at Northridge for years to come. Cade Carrington's back at quarterback, and just love what Tag Gott gives them along with Ridge Howard. Clint Walker is outstanding. They have 7 seniors on that defense, and the defense has been playing very hard, but again, you got to come up with some points.
And special teams might be a factor for them, as it was. They made some plays in the game that we had against Northwood. Carrington missed that game because of COVID. Can he make enough of a difference as they face this Northwood team that Nate Andrews has directed this year? Very young team, throws the ball very well. We saw Caden Lone light it up with this pass to J.J. Payne, but Owen Rader came off the bench when Lone hurt his hamstring in that game and really has taken control of the team.
Have they ever had a young quarterback jump into the hot seat and do well? Yeah, it's kind of a tradition. And Rader's really a tradition guy. I mean, his dad was a good player there at Northwood as well. But names like Ethan Evers, who runs the ball, he's the leading tackler, and J.J. Payne, Tarian Tuggle, Trey Tobias, pretty good. Chuck, you won't believe this, but Northwood is a team that's small and quick. I guess that's what they always do.
Yeah, the winner of this game will likely be the favorite to get to the sectional championship game. And then the game we have for you on TV 46 Friday night from the very competitive Class 5A Sectional 10, Adams taking on Goshen. Let's start by talking about Antoine Jones Adams Eagles. 3-6 coming in on the year, 5-game losing streak, but the one thing the Eagles can do is run the ball very well.
They can, and they've got a big offensive line, and that's been a big part of any success that they've had. But again, when you look at the record, you say, well, they need more than that. They certainly do. They're not balanced as far as passing the football like you'd like to see them. They do run the ball. They got some quality running backs. And the biggest problem, Antoine told us, is that they're putting the ball on the ground, and you just can't do that in a playoff game.
Jeremiah Love has done a nice job at running back this year. Gavin Pulling, you mentioned that offensive line. We'll see if they can move the ball on this Goshen team. The Red Hawks feeling good about themselves. They are 4-5. I know that doesn't sound that great, but they've won back-to-back Northern Lakes Conference games for the first time in a long time, and I love this quarterback, Quinn Bechtel. He competes.
He not only competes, but he's got good size. He's 6'1", he's about 175 pounds, and he's pretty adept at running and passing with the football, and he's done a nice job for them. And he's just outstanding. And Isaiah Park has also been carrying the ball pretty well because they've lost Roman Schrock, who's their leading carrier going into the season, and they've got to replace him. But boy, when you got a dual threat quarterback, it makes a big difference.
Defensively, they've got some nice size on the line. Cam Kircher up front, and then the linebackers, Blake Wyman and Mitch Daniels, have really spearheaded that effort. It is our first trip to Foreman Field in 10 years, and we are excited to get back there. Hopefully you will join us as well. We're on the air with pregame at 6:45 on the IHSA Champions Network. You can watch it live there, or you can watch it as you have for over 30 years, Friday night 11, Saturday morning at 9 on TV 46. Until then, for Bob Nagel, Chuck Freeby, thanks for joining us on Social Media.